Has Hans Niemann cheated? I think so. Over the board. Here's why. There's a number in chess statistics called engine correlation, and it's a percentage. Hans has 10 100% games. One of them is a 45 move game where every single move that he played correlates exactly with what the engine recommends. For reference, Magnus Carlsen, the greatest player of all time, arguably, he has 200% games in his entire career. Hans has all 10 in the past couple of years and just became a grandmaster like 2 years ago. And Hans has 5 times as many perfect games. And then in terms of 90% plus games, like ridiculously accurate, Hans has 23 and Magnus only has 2. So Magnus has 4 total compared to 33 for Hans. Now, I think Hans is using a computer over the board somehow. Whether he has a contact lens with augmented reality or chip in his head or something in his shoe. People are saying something in his butt. I don't know. I don't know how he's doing it, but I do believe that the current evidence of the engine correlation is significant. Unless, if you assume that Hans did not cheat, but those statistics are true, then we have to crown him as 5 to 10 times more likely to get a perfect game than Carlsen. So he's essentially better. Bobby Fischer on his 20-game winning streak was 72% accurate, or engine correlation. And Magnus is around 70 when he's playing well. Kasparov was 69. And everyone knows Fischer was out of control, just winning every game at 72. A really, really good game from a Grandmaster is like 80%. And I watched this video of Hikaru analyzing another video, which I also watched, of Yosha doing this spreadsheet and the statistics. But you can just take my word for it or go look at Hikaru's channel. But Hikaru was analyzing his own favorite games of his. And he had, excuse me, getting a call. Hikaru, his favorite game ever was a 66%. And Grandmasters are typically around 60%, like Super GMs. 50% is considered a good game. Sometimes they're 30 or 40 or 20 in a loss. And Hikaru analyzed several of his games, and some of his best games, like his best game at the Candidates against Yasipenko, was 82%. So it's like a great Grandmaster game is around 80%. Hans is pulling off the impossible, essentially. I don't know that it's physically possible to play a 45 move game at 100% engine correlation, where every move you make is engine recommended. And Carlsen's done it twice in his career, and he's the greatest of all time. And Hans has done it basically 33 times, which is a special number to the Freemasons. Not sure if that applies. But I tend to think he would be willing. Hans is a cheater in the past. Certain people like myself or like Magnus, certain people would never cheat even once in chess because it goes against chess itself, and we love chess. We respect the game. So we don't want to ruin it. You know what I mean? Like, ruin the competition. It takes a special type of chess player to ever cheat even once. And it means he cares more about winning than the actual game. And like the integrity of the game. And he would volunteer if someone approached him, like his mentor, Maxime Delugi or whatever, who also got banned from chess.com. If he approached Hans with a device, said, hey, me and Elon have created this chess cheating device. Would you like to be the first volunteer? What's up, Craig?
Hey, what's up?
Making a video. Yeah. I'm good. I'm in the middle of a video right now. So, essentially, Hans is the type of human being that would, in my opinion, say, yes, please, I'll take it. And he would be willing to compromise the integrity of the game to get a winning advantage so he can beat the best player in the world, Magnus, and then be an asshole afterwards saying, I can't believe you lost to an idiot like me. And Hans might be saying that because he knows he is an idiot compared to Magnus. He's also trying to get under Magnus's skin, and he succeeded. But he knows that he's not able to beat Carlsen without cheating. And so I leave the door open for the possibility that he's not cheating. But I'm just saying the evidence is overwhelming that if he's not cheating, we have to immediately consider Hans the greatest of all time, basically, or headed to become the greatest of all time. He would have the most potential of all time. He would have the highest ceiling of all time. I mean, he's hit 33 near perfect and perfect games. Double digit, 100%. 100% accuracy. Chess is so complicated after 45 moves. There's no way that he did that legitimately. I mean, maybe one, or like Carlsen is the greatest ever, so he did two. Another player for reference is Hikaru couldn't find any when he was looking at his best games. And then there's the guy Aragaisi has one in his career. I think 100% game and like two above 90 or something. So we're talking damn near impossible. And I think that, well, Magnus officially has accused Hans of cheating. Released an official statement saying, I believe Hans has cheated more and more recently than he's publicly admitted. And chess.com released a statement saying the same thing weeks earlier, saying he's not being entirely honest. We are banning him from chess.com because chess.com knows that he's cheated in a different time, like maybe when he was 18. And Hans is saying, I only did it when I was 12 and 16. But he's lying about that, according to chess.com and Magnus's statement. And also, you have to look at the evidence of, we all know Magnus is the best. Intuitively, most of us know that. So, look at what he's doing right now. He threw the game against Hans, resigned, and still won the tournament. Like, he's that good that he can make a statement mid-tournament and still come out first place in the seeding and then crush everyone. He won 4.5 out of 5 in the finals against the number 2 seed after throwing a game against Hans and missing 3 points, potentially. So Magnus is on a whole nother level because he doesn't even have to hide any moves and save it for the World Championship. Every event he plays in right now is like the World Championship for him because he's trying to hit 2,900, so he has to play at his peak level. And he's doing it. And Hans disrupted that by cheating at the Sinkfield Cup in round 3 and beating him. And maybe he didn't, because the engine score of that game was Carlsen was like 30 or 43% and Hans was like 62 or something, like, which is still incredibly good. 62 is still super GM level. But me, myself, as a 2000 rated player who understands chess at a high level, I thought that Hans played that game brilliantly and that Magnus was doing nothing wrong. Like, the engine thinks it's wrong, but Hans put Magnus in a tough spot with a queen exchange where Magnus tried to do an in-between move where he was attacking Hans's queen instead of moving his knight, which was getting kicked. So Hans then ignored the threat to his queen and attacked Magnus's queen. So suddenly Magnus had a queen and a knight hanging, and he took Hans's queen, but then Hans took Magnus's queen, and then Magnus had to retreat his knight, and then it was Hans's turn, and he just won with black, like winning a pawn and just kind of queening at the end, I think. But it was a beautiful game by black that was not easy to understand or pull off. Like he made this pawn move in the middle that gave his bishop room to counterattack the queen, which was really good. And I'm not convinced that that's Hans' natural playing style. I think he had assistance. And I think the evidence is that he has 10 games where he couldn't resist just using the computer the whole game and getting 100%. And 23 90s. So Magnus has 4 games in his career above 90%. Hans has 33. So are we really supposed to believe that not only is Hans better than Magnus, but he's leagues better? It's like he's more than 8 times better than Magnus. So you either have to accept that Hans is cheating or he's 8 times more likely to play a great game than Magnus fucking Carlsen or Bobby Fischer at his best. So I think it's pretty damning evidence that he's cheating over the board in classical chess. He's risen like 300 rating points in like a year. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. God bless.